those that you cited this morning.
Usually says one thing, that without fiscal planning, that you are nowhere. All of us, most of the time when we publish stories about fiscal planning, it's about one structure being demolished and another being marked or everywhere. But it's not all of that. When you have the commissioner, Dr. Oluyinka Olumide, a man who is carrying two titles. He's a doctor and he's also an engineer. You know that...
A round of applause.
You know that it's a very serious matter in that ministry. He's a man with whom I've worked for quite some time now, and he's been very helpful. All of the things that some of you guys asked me and I don't have answers to, I usually go to him for answers, and then he's always very responsive to me. And most of the time, when I quote people outside, people who are in the cabinet are saying one thing or the other, he's one of those that I usually quote without shaking at all, because I know that all the facts he gives to me, they are correct facts. So today, you guys are very lucky. All of the heads of agencies are here. The PS is here. Everybody, whatever question that you may have, but in your mind, members of the public have asked you, or you just need clarification, please do not hesitate to go ahead and ask. And if there are other things that you feel we are not able to cover in this press briefing, feel free to call any of the people who are here. I assure you they are all capable. It's the only ministry that you have engineers, you have town planners, you have town planner this, town planner that. It's unfortunate. In our own profession, very soon we will now be having journalists, so that you guys can get very, very satisfied about your own calling too. It's not only in engineering or in town planning that people will have to assert who they are by the titles that they carry. So on this note, I will not want to waste much of our time, but to just urge you to continue to report us accurately, to continue to report us passionately, because we have done a lot in all of the things that we are talking about in these briefings. And I feel that the Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development is also has a lot in his bag to unload today. So on this note, I urge you to be attentive and then be bold enough to ask any question you would like to ask. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Honorable Commissioner, you have the floor now, sir.
Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy, the PS seated directors, staff of Lagos State Government, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to address you on these achievements recorded in the 6th year of administration of Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, our dear Governor of Lagos State, in the fiscal planning and urban development sector. This time last year, precisely 8th of May 2024, we reported the ongoing transformative agenda of repositioning the fiscal planning and urban development sector for greater and more efficient service to the good people of Lagos State. To our delight, the 12 months that followed have seen progressive efforts towards consolidating the outcomes of that endeavor and strengthening the achievement of the Team Plus agenda in all fronts. Therefore, in keeping with the determination of this administration to achieve a sustainable smart city in which a 21st century economy shall prevail, we have within the reported period successfully expanded the focus of this office on physical development plans, planning permit coverage, management of incidental open spaces, petition and physical planning and building control dispute handling, as well as regulatory compliance. This enhanced focus achieved through laudable initiatives such as stakeholders collaboration, amnesty program, physical planning summit, public enlightenment, and alliance building, and many others, shall form the highlights of this report. Master and model city plans. To ensure that all parts of the states are covered by plan, Lagos State Government, through the Office of Physical Planning, initiated review the following plans. The Ikorodu Sub-Regional Master Plan 2017 to 2037, which is already completed. The Koshofe Model City Plan 2020 to 2024, which is also fully completed. The Lagos Island Model City Plan, which is about 85% completion. And I must commend the elders of the Lagos Island. We've been collaborating effectively to ensure completion of this plan. Ibeju-Lekki Model City Plan, which is also about 85% of completion. The review of the Alimosho Model City Plan, which is fully completed. The review of the Badagry Master Plan, which is also at about 85% completion. Again, I must commend the elders around Badagry because they form a formative group with us, and we are together looking at this completion. And lastly, the Lekki Comprehensive Master Plan. The Ikorodu Sub-Regional Master Plan, initiated in 2016, has been completed, having received the final report from the consultants within the reported period. Likewise, the Koshofe Model City Plan, awarded in August of 2020, has been completed with the necessary milestones, including the submission of inception and baseline reports, organization of the inception workshop, completion of the draft final, public display, final stakeholders, sensitization, as well as submission of the final report by the consultants, that's Urban Planning Smart Solution Limited. Equally important is the Lagos Island Model City Plan, which is being prepared to address the fast growth of development in Lagos Island sub-region and is at about 85% completion. The project awarded to Dal Handasa is awaiting the final submission, the submission of the final report. Having gone through all these stages, the reviewed Lekki Comprehensive Master Plan is also at about 85% completion stage, while the review of Alimosho Model City Plan is completed with the receipt of the final report from the consultant, Corporate Castle Limited. In the same vein, the review of the Badagry Master Plan has reached 85% completion as we await the submission of the final report, while the Ibeju-Lekki Model City Plan project is also at about 85% completion. Like all others, the Ibeju-Lekki Model City Plan is instructive as it is required to address the observed negative effect of growth and development and manage future growth in one of the fastest growing corridors in the states. I can make bold to say also in the country. The project seeks to isolate the local government area from the area of coverage of the existing Lekki Comprehensive Master Plan while addressing some of the issues that have been established by the Interministerial Committee set up by our dear Governor to save the corridor from sprawling. Preparation of action area plans, that is the lower order plant. For the effective development control and sustainable environment at local level, the Office of Physical Planning in the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development accelerated the preparation of Odeomi, Iju Town, to the extent that the Lagos State government has, in the last 6 years, completed the preparation of 8 action area plans. It's a town which fully completed. The Pota Igboro is also completed. Ikoga town is completed. Obawole fully completed. Ijegun Egba, Ijagemo town fully completed. Ijedodo town also fully completed. Odeomi fully completed, and Iju town. Preparation of development guide plans for excised villages to, among others, make the excised villages more sustainable and address the need to extend fiscal planning administration to non-scheme areas. The office has ensured the completion and approval for use of a total of 9 development guide plans initiated for Awoyaya area, Orimedu area, Elekutu area, all in Ibeju local government area, and Shongotedo, Langbasa, Onikoyi in the Etiosa local government area. Others are Suberu Oje in Alimosho local government area, Akpa in Badagry local government, and Ketu Ijaniki in Ojo local government. Approval of public and private layouts plans, which is part of our responsibility. As part of its statutory responsibilities, the Office of Physical Planning received a total of 77 applications, and we granted 35 provisional layout plans approval and 6 final layout plan approval between 2024 and April of 2025. Monitoring of public and private estates. Within the period under review, a total of 36 estates were monitored for compliance by the Office of the Physical Planning through its routine monitoring of both private and public estates developments. The aim of the monitoring exercise is to ensure compliance with the layout plans approval granted by the office and achieve a sustainable environment in line with the state government development blueprints. The outcome of the exercise has been an increase in the level of compliance to approvals granted for estate development and an increase in the number of applications for layout approval. I must emphasize here that this exercise is also very, very important because in one of our routine site inspection, we've noticed that a lot of estates development along the corridors of Ibeju-Lekki, Ekpe, and Ikorodu axis are illegal estates, especially built on agric lands within Ibeju-Lekki, Ekpe, and Ikorodu. And it's unfortunate because advertisement is being made on these schemes, and our brothers and sisters in diasporas have committed heavy funds to this. So the state government cannot allow these illegal activities to continue. We shall, from this coming year, be very, very strict in ensuring compliance regarding that. Delivery of right-of-way. The Office of Physical Planning facilitated the road expansion and construction in the state by carrying out the delivery of requisite right-of-ways for public projects in Lagos State. The office, through the Development Matters Development, carried out the delivery of right-of-way of 62 projects from 2019 to 2021 and 22 projects from 2022 to 2023 and 3 projects from 2024 to 2025. Altogether, delivery of right-of-way of 85 in total projects have been carried out under the administration of Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu. I would at this point like to assure the public that as it's our statutory responsibility to ensure right-of-way, it's normally our letters that goes out there informing people about government intention. And the worry of the people now is regarding compensation. So I can make bold to say that full details have been provided to land bureaus to ensure that the issue of compensations are fully dealt with. Treatment of compliance, petitions, and provision of technical support service. One of the departments under the ministry is the Technical Services Department. And within the period being reported, the Office of Physical Planning, through its Technical Services Department, provided technical support services to other MDAs in the area of physical planning and development issues. In the same vein, the office received an investigative petition submitted by aggrieved members of the public and whistleblower relating to land use and development dispute, as well as perceived physical planning infractions. Within this period, a total of about 1,628 petitions were received over this past 1 year, and that's about 7 petitions per day. Of these 1,628 petitions, we visited 1,576 sites, which represent 97%. Of these sites visited, 1,258 were fully treated, which represent about 77%. Of these, 985 were fully resolved, which represents 61% of petitions received. And of these resolved cases, about 237 sites required demolition, which were carried out. Petition to Lagos State's Fiscal Planning and Building Control Appeals Committee. As a way of ensuring confidence in the populace, our dear governor created the Building Control Appeals Committee. That is, if any member of the public is aggrieved, they are free to approach that committee and make their complaints. In most cases, most of these complaints are against the government. So we need to commend our dear governor for that. Within the period under review, Fiscal Planning and Building Control Appeals Committee received 95 petitions against government agencies, individuals, and public officials. The committee conducted hearing on all the 95 petitions and delivered decisions on 35 of them, while 28 petitions are still ongoing. The appeal committee struck out 38 petitions due to petitioners failing to respond or returning to the court. Stakeholder engagement and public enlightenment. Within the period reported, the Office of Fiscal Planning continued with its principle of carrying along its stakeholders with its plan, program, and activities, in line with the maxim of planning with the people and not planning for the people. The Lagos State government, under the leadership of Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, our dear governor, deepens its bottom-top approach to fiscal planning through regular stakeholders' engagements on various issues, including master and model city plans preparation, review process, the process of delivery of right-of-way of public projects, and sensitization on policies and new initiatives. That is, extension of the initial 90-day amnesty program on planning permits. Other preparatory approaches of the office include engagement with members of professional bodies in the built environment, engagement with students in urban and regional planning and allied courses in tertiary institutions, and engagement with media stakeholders as we are having today. New initiatives. To address the emerging challenges and enhance governance in Lagos State built environment, the Office of Fiscal Planning embarked on new initiatives geared towards repositioning the sector for better service delivery and investment as proposed in our operative development plan. The following new initiatives that the office embarked upon within the reported period are the Lagos State Planning Summit, the very first one that was held, the interagency collaboration to streamline the regulatory procedure in the built environment. We've had cases of complaint of people of various clearances in the process of getting their planning permits. For example, drainage permit, transport permits, and the likes. Proposed creation of additional departments within the office. A 180-day amnesty program, staff welfare and capacity building, international study tour to the UK local office planning department as organized by Da Andasa. The Lagos State Physical Planning Summit, the very first held. The Lagos State Physical Planning Summit was conceived as a biennial international forum of stakeholders that will explore strategies for addressing pressing issues of implementation, investment, sustainability, and physical planning service delivery. The Median Summit in 2024 was tagged Rethinking Lagos, a new vision for a regional and integrated city, mega city, which was held at Eco Hotel and Suites on Victoria Island on 15th and 16th of October 2024. The keynote lecture was delivered by our former governor, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN-CON. The summit drew participation from far and wide, including Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, our dear governor of the state, members of the House of Assembly, National Assembly, serving and former members of the Lagos State Executive Council, members of the International Committee, World Banks and the likes, professional institutes, business community, the academia, and some of who served as speakers, moderators, and panelists. The summit came up with profound resolution drawn from the engaging keynote lecture. Mr. Governor welcome address, the panel discussion, and interactive session. Keynote resolutions, including placing emphasis on integrating Lagos with its neighboring regions to foster sustainable growth through interconnected economic and cultural activities, streamlining the planning permit process, reducing fees, minimizing bureaucratic delays to improve the ease of doing business in Lagos megacity, and reviewing the existing antenna as well as the environmental laws to enable more effective urban planning and development, among others. Interagency collaboration to streamline regulatory procedure in the built environment. In line with the recommendation of the Median Lagos Physical Planning Summit, the Office of Fiscal Planning has initiated a move to enhance collaboration among MDAs in the built environment. The essence of this initiative is to streamline regulatory procedure, improve public experience, and enhance the ease of doing business in Lagos State. It will help in addressing the challenge of overlapping functions, capacity gaps, and delay in the sectors. In addition to the initial 90 days of the amnesty period to proposed owners, and developers of the existing development from 2nd of May to 30th of July 2024, the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, graciously granted an extension of that amnesty period by a 90-day from 1st of August to 31st of December, making a total of 180-day amnesty period granted. The initiative was to improve building approval coverage in the state by allowing owners, developers of existing buildings to obtain planning permit without payment of statutory penal fees within the amnesty window. An exercise was carried out as regard the level of compliance in the Federation, with Edo State leading at about 32% and followed by the Federal Capital Territory. So in Lagos, we identified that deficiency, which led to the amnesty period, and all effort is being geared towards addressing that. And I can say authoritatively here that the response from the amnesty period has been very, very encouraging, and a lot of people are now showing interest in getting their buildings approved. Manpower capacity enhancement. Aware that driving a vibrant physical planning and urban development sector of Lagos megacity requires a well-motivated human and skillful workforce with updated professional knowledge. The Office of Physical Planning has ensured the regular attendance of professional conferences and training programs by members of staff. There has been several professional engagements of the Honorable Commissioner and Permanent Secretary with town planning officers in the public service. In addition, the state government has granted and employed additional 173 town planning officers between grade levels 8 and 10 to bridge the skill.
We can do better, please. A round of applause.
To bridge this skill gap, while the Office of Physical Planning instituted a quarterly Outstanding Officers Award to promote excellence. Winners of the first quarter year 2025 are Mr. Abari Mustafa in the senior category and Mr. Shokubi Olajide in the junior category. 2024 World Habitat Day celebration. The Office of Physical Planning coordinated the celebration of the World Habitat Day 2024 with the theme, Engaging Youth to Create a Better Urban Future. The global observance of this day was to reflect on the state of our towns and cities and the role of youth in development, while reminding the world of its collective responsibility for the future of our human habitat. The state celebration in Lagos involved lectures, panel discussion, drama, and exhibition. Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority, LASPA. Within the first phase of the amnesty, a total of, which is from May to July of 2024, a total of 4,877 applications were received, out of which 2,151 of them were granted approval. As the second phase, which was from August to October, a total of 6,402 applications were received and 3,570 applications were approved. At the last phase, which was November to December 2024, a total of 7,210 applications were received, out of which 3,135 were granted full approval. It's of note that in terms of we now have a total of 61 outlets in our local governments and the LCD area, as well as the electronic centers. From the exercise of the last amnesty, we can confidently tell you that we have recorded a 27% increase from the previous year in terms of planning permit compliance. Lagos State Planning and Environmental Monitoring Authority, LASPEMA, which is now LASISMA. Within the period being reported, LASISMA carried out the following activities. It's important for us to understand the importance and the relevance of these agencies. They are responsible for the management of our informal spaces and incidental spaces. And what defines a state, as we rightly mentioned, areas like London, Dubai, and the like, is the use to which the informal spaces are put to. So the Lagos State government has positioned itself now with these agencies to ensure that we give a proper treatment to all our informal spaces. And in the past year, the agencies has collected real-time data gathering, collation of operators on informal urban spaces, making LASPEMA a repository of information for Lagos State government and other MDAs. Continuous strategic partnership with corporate organizations by way of PPP to actualize the collective effort for a well-planned city. Increased and continuous installation of bollards for the proper demarcation of economic areas from walkways across the cities. Organization of stakeholders meetings towards transforming the incidental open spaces. Example was the one held at Sabo Itoki, Ikorodu North Local Government LCDA. Preparation of strategic action area plans for reordering of selected densely populated informal urban spaces in alignment with the operative development plan of the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development to enhance the implementation of the State Team Plus agenda. Completed transformation action plan, the Abule Egba informal urban space, the Sabo Ikorodu North informal urban space, Okwaba Agege Abato Canal informal urban space. Collaboration with proposed partnership on innovative sustainable solar powered kiosks across Lagos for eco-friendly landscape. Strategic collaboration with other MDAs, including Office of Transformation, Creativity and Innovation, Lagos State Signage and Advertisement Agency, Ministry of Transportation through Lagos State Parking Authority, Lagos State Parks and Garden, LASPARK, Lagos State Health Management Agency. Proposed standardization of urban furniture through initiatives like the hybrid solar power air compressor pumping machine and standardized kiosks designed to, among others, enhance the physical orderliness and capture a comprehensive database of informal operators on our setbacks. Specialized planning. The ministry, realizing the position of the state in the country, has positioned itself with the development of in-house specialties in the following heavy development with relevant authorities, thus positioning the states for rapid development. Such structures include airport development. We have full details now of all the planning requirements for airport. 2, cemetery and burial ground. 3, freeways and highways. 4, refineries. 5, steel plants. 6, seaports. 7, marine and blue economy. As a fallout from the plan for Ibejuleki and Badagry, it came up very vividly of the need to develop proper economic activity on all our marine lines, as well as the taking advantage of the blue economy. Our waterways cannot just be a dead enclave. They necessarily have to be put into meaningful economic gains. Exports, trade processing zones, technological hubs. This is where the world is tending to now in terms of engaging our youth. So in the States, we have also positioned ourselves to ensure that enough technological hubs are provided for our youths. And lastly, stadium. Special appeal on as part of the responsibility of the ministry. It's of note that we let the public know that any site that is under construction in the state must have an approved building plan. And that is the starting point for any development. So henceforth, any site under development without approved building plans, the consultants, that's the professional consultants on such sites, shall be reported to the appropriate professional bodies for proper disciplinary measures. Any sites, any construction sites henceforth in the state must have and produce planning permit before the staging certificate. So henceforth, any site without planning permits, but one way or the other manage to get stage certificate, shall be sealed and forfeited to the state government. The control arm of the, that's building control arm of the ministry, which is Lagos State Building Control Agency, has just launched a program, CAP, that is leveraging on professional consultants as a way of reaching out more in terms of supervision of project sites. And henceforth, as a way of minimizing building collapse, the following are very, very critical. 1, no site can be developed without any evidence of planning permit. No site can also be developed without work authorization by the building control. And sites are to be overseen by the CAP accreditators. We also have in plan, which is long overdue, the certification of artisans on building sites, because the professionals cannot be on site 24/7 or 6 hours a day. So the artisans that we have on site too must show some level of professionalism. The carpenters, the iron benders, the electricians, bricklayers and the likes, they must show some level of certification of their. Then finally, builder certification for each site. Part of the law setting up Institute of Building is for them to ensure that every site must be handled by a builder, a registered builder. So henceforth, every site will be demanded that the lead builder must show evidence of appropriate certification. There are also activities regarding urban regeneration, which of course I believe you must have noticed in areas that have been prepared for regeneration. Okobaba is an example. Belewura is an example. So collaboration is ongoing with relevant MDAs to ensure proper urban regeneration regarding that. Also, we have going to have, we plan collaboration with Ministry of Waterfront Infrastructure. Developments within the waterfront reclamation area needs to be properly monitored, and that's what will ensure these are done. Conclusion. Dear journalists, the vision of Lagos Smart City that begins with devising and executing appropriate plans is a collective one. And I must at this point say that we've been very lucky in Lagos State because the chief town planning officer of the state is our governor. All the activities, all the developmental, infrastructural development, all takes root from the plans that are made. On this premise, I urge you all not to regret on the noble crusade of encouraging our people to embrace the principle of build right, which connotes compliance with regulatory provisions in the built environment. As members of the Fourth Estate of the Rim, the slogan, "See something, say something," in order to bring about a safe, orderly, livable, and sustainable physical environment, it requires our collective effort. In the ministry, as well as the 61 offices, you are free to lodge in your complaint in case you come against something that you feel you are not comfortable with. Without a doubt, the administration led by our dear Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sowolu, is waxing stronger in his commitment to the built environment of Lagos State, as indicated in the laudable achievements and initiatives recorded in the sector in the past 6 years. However, we can achieve more with more collaborations in bringing valuable information, education, and enlightenment to our people. As noted and fostered in 1999, the physical planning is not just a technical exercise, but a social and political process that requires the participation of all stakeholders. Thank you all for your attention. Ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó, àjùmọ̀ṣe gbogbo wa ni.
A round of applause for the good doctor, Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Olumide. While Doctor was speaking, I was just telling myself, if I have to face any exam on town planning in Lagos State, if I have to sit for any exam on town planning in Lagos State in the next 1 month, I will just pass it quite easily. I may need to, a round of applause, please. I may need to call the PAMSEC or call my good Director of Public Affairs there, but that was a very detailed, extensive, comprehensive reportage. A round of applause for the Commissioner once again. So on this note, we've come to the second part of this important event, which is the time when we take questions from the members of the Fourth Estate of the Rim, the gentlemen of the press, and to facilitate that is my partner here.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mishori. All right, so we'll be taking the questions in batches of three questions at a time, please. All right, so may we have the first man, please?
Good morning.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Adiola Ogrinde, and I report for Western Post. Sir, my number one question is on Lagos building permits. Why is the amount that you are supposed to pay kept in secrecy? Because if you go to Alimosho, the amount to be paid for maybe a 3-bedroom to be built is different from Ikeja, is different from, why is it that the amount to be paid is not set? And in the last 1 year, how much has the Lagos state government gotten from Lagos building permits, the amount? Number 2 is about buildings in Lagos State, demolished buildings in Lagos State. In the last 1 year, can you tell us how many buildings have been demolished by the Lagos State government? And how many buildings have been marked for demolition by the Lagos State government? Thank you.
All right, let's have the next question, please. We'll be taking it in the batches of 3.
Good morning or afternoon, Honorable. Good morning, Honorable Commissioner. My name, I'm Adewale Ajayi. I write for Blueprint newspaper. In your speech, you said most estates that they build in Lagos are built on agric acquisition land. What were Lagos State officials doing when they started that construction? Number 2, if you observe, most land where people built in Lagos State falls under agric acquisition. And what efforts are you doing to review it? Because most of these land acquired for agric purpose are not used for agric purpose. And we've had cases whereby people built on agric land. At the end of the day, Lagos State released it for residential building. So what are you doing to review that situation?
All right, may we have a third question, please? We're taking a question in batches of 3.
Good morning, sir. My name is Bukola Taylor Cole from Lagos Television. Honorable Commissioner, sir, earlier in the year, your ministry issued a press release saying it would demand mandatory installation of CCTV cameras in buildings of 6 floors and above before issuing planning permits for security measures. How far have you gone with implementation of this policy? And is there a standard specification for these cameras? And how do you intend to ensure the monitoring of this policy to ensure its functionality? Then you talked about the amnesty program. I know that you extended it one time, but are there plans to extend it again? Because many residents, especially those in the hinterlands, have claimed ignorance of this program. So do you have plans to extend it again? Thank you very much, sir.
All right, over to you, Honorable Commissioner, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Before I answer in that order, let me just quickly correct. What I said was the agric, not estates in Lagos State. No, I was specific. Ibejuleki, Ekpe, and Ikorodu. So it's not estates in the whole of Lagos State. So, yeah. Now, the first question was on planning permit, security. There is nothing secret about any what we charge on as assessment. Now, if you have the intention of developing your own building, upon completion of all the basic requirements, the document, which is the drawings and the title and all the likes, you approach the district office, which they will assess, and if it is okay, they will give you the assessment. So it's not in secret at all. They will write it out for you and give you the amount, and the bank you have to pay to, the code and all the numbers, and you do all the payments yourselves. So there is nothing secret or hidden there. However, in terms of the rating, they are different because the areas are marked and zoned differently. If, for example, you are building a 3-bedroom bungalow in Ikorodu, it will not make sense for you to pay the same amount with somebody building the same building in Lekki, for example? No. It cannot be the same. Ikorodu, probably, we are just coming up with the infrastructure. In Lekki, you already have all the infrastructure laid down. So it cannot be the same thing, and it's not secret. However, I must again say here, the amount, we have done a lot of research and comparison, both locally and internationally, even neighboring African countries, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, Tanzania, and the likes, and even UK and Dubai, to actually check the position of our rating, and quite frankly, is still among the lowest. And let me give you an example. If, for example, somebody is building a 3-bedroom bungalow with the cheapest of all material you can use to build a 3-bedroom bungalow, probably you will spend about 10 million naira. You spend about 10 million naira. The assessment you are going to pay for that kind of structure, depending on the area, will range between 300,000 and, let's say, 700,000, depending on the area. And for you to pay, let's say, 500,000 for a 10 million exercise, I don't think that is much. Now, again, we necessarily don't demolish houses. The condition for buildings, structures, demolitions are quite clear. They are quite clear. If you build under high tension, the government cannot allow you to put your life at danger. That building will be brought down immediately. If you build on gas pipeline, of course you cannot get approval for sure. If you build on gas pipeline, such a structure will be brought down immediately. Now, if you build also on a drainage path, as you've seen my brother, Commissioner for Environment, if you build on drainage path, it will also be, he said it doesn't demolish, so it will also be removed. Because a particular structure cannot put entire community at danger, so it will be removed. Now, in terms of infraction, it's only in the very, very extreme cases that buildings are demolished. What probably will have happened is that you build without approval. And what we'll do is that we'll compel you, the buildings will be marked, notices will be served, the building will be sealed before we get to the stage of saying we want to demolish. But we will give you the opportunity to come forward with the necessary drawing, and we will check that drawing that is in line with what is approvable. If it is so bad, those areas that contravene our regular law, we will ask you to remove them. It is only in extreme case when you go out of order that will remove a building. Now, regarding estates on agric land, I was very specific. The areas are Ibeju, Lekki, Ekpe, and Ikorodu. And what we've seen is that agric are given land allocated to them. Now, for one reason or the other, the outer part of it might not be effectively put to use. And what we've noticed is that most of this land are sold out by Omoniles to unsuspecting developers. And that's why we said, before any developer commits their fund into any development, check the status of the land from lands to confirm the authenticity of the owner. Check also from Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development as regards the use of that land. If those two are met, then you can proceed. But what we've seen is that lands that are acquired, compensation fully paid to the family, which are designated for agric development, the same Omenule now sells to unsuspecting developer, and so developer of necessity did not get confirmation either from land or physical planning. They just went to site, in most cases, put the front fence and maybe a gatehouse and put a label. Oluwagbami Estates, and they start selling. Unfortunately, they are very clever. You see them on the net. Our also suspecting brothers and sisters in diaspora commit every fund to it for something that is absolutely illegal. And we're going out very heavily on these people. We cannot tolerate that. And lastly, regarding, if you listen to the budget presentation by our dear governor last year, he did talk about a lot about the leveraging on science and innovation, part of which is that we want to ensure and increase security. And one way you can achieve that is by recording a 24/7 daily view of areas. So we've gotten approval, and it's become a law that if you are building, we may still go down, but for now, 5 floors and above, 5, not 6, 5 floors and above, you must show evidence that you incorporate CCTV camera that can capture the whole vicinity of that building. And a couple of weeks back, we held a meeting with the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State on trying to harmonize this, the specification for these cameras, because the eventual plan is that it's going to be linked in with the police for security as a way of securing the whole of the state. In fact, most advanced world, you see cameras everywhere. This is how they started. They started like this from buildings before it ends up going everywhere that you have camera, and it helps them a lot in terms of ensuring safety and security. There is hardly anything you can do in London, for example, that one camera or the other will not pick you. So that is the position of that. We're harmonizing with the police to come up with specifications so that eventually it could be linked centrally to the police as a way of ensuring security and safety within the state. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I've just been reminded about amnesty. Well, from the records that we have from the last exercise we did on amnesty, like I said, it's very, very encouraging. And as now, it has increased the level of our permit compliance by 27%. So we all know that we have a listening governor. Our governor is very responsive and reactive. So if it is the wish of the public that an extension or a reintroduction of the amnesty should come up, well, of course, we'll present it to him, and I'm sure he will look into it. But for now, I cannot say. But if it is the wish of the public, we'll back it up with some facts, and I'm sure he will look into it.
All right, let's have a round of applause for our Honorable Commissioner, please. Okay, so we're going for our next batch of questions. Last 3 questions, please. Yes, just 3 more questions. May we have the first man?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Titila Yabero from Channels TV. Sometimes last week, there was a story in the news about an hotel, a 4-story building built very close to Gani Fayemi's residential home. And that building is like a threat to Gani Fayemi's home. In fact, lawyers actually had to call a press conference demanding that they don't know if it was the Lagos State government that gave the owner of that structure the approval to go ahead to build such structure, because that building is completely looking into Gani Fayemi's building. So we'd like to know if you've heard about it, your plans, what are you doing? Is there any plan to demolish that, or are there going to be any form of fine for the owner of that building? Secondly, in your speech, you talked about the master plans for some areas. Alimosho, Ikorodu, Lekki, some of them you said has been completed, while some are still ongoing. Even though it's a master plan, I would like to know for some areas, Alimosho in particular, I know that once you are done with such master plans, definitely there will be regeneration plan. Which areas, I would like you to tell us which areas will be affected. Are there going to be demolition of structures for us to achieve that regeneration plan for some of those areas, Ikorodu, Alimosho, and other places, Badagry as well. Thank you.
Okay, next man, please. Please go ahead.
Okay,
next person.
My name is Benga Salah, and I write for the Guardian newspaper. My first question, it's a fallout of your comment that you said no site can be developed without any planning permit. And it has been proved, and the evidence is where people approach your agencies for planning permits, and they deliberately keep people waiting unnecessarily. And I can give you a vivid example. He's a good friend of mine. She manages a facility in Ikeja, GRA. She wanted to do renovation. For 6 good months, she even paid somebody within LASPA to help facilitate the process after paying the money. For 6 months, that approval was not given. After 6 months, she went there. Even one of the officers, after they were tossing her here up and down, one of the others told her pointedly that you were lucky that you paid the right fee. So if you are saying people should not go ahead without planning permit, what are you doing internally to ensure that people are not treated badly or rude? 2, last year your ministry had its summit, and one of the fallout of that summit, the governor also said something will be done, which was raised by the former governor, Obatunde Fashola, was about reducing the number of agencies for building permits. It was also the issue about fees payments, not using fees as revenue generation. Months after, more than 6 months after, nothing has been done. Why? You talked about that for someone to build a 3-bedroom flat, that the highest fee you could pay for as planning fee is between 300 and 700. I think this fee is kept in the ministry because many people do not, and that is why a lot of people do things illegally. Because if you are paying just 300,000 naira or 700,000 naira as permit fee, many people will come and obey. But many of your officers just come up with bogus fees. And somebody within here also had a similar
begin to round off now, sir.
So what are you doing to make your permit fees transparent and open to the citizen? The other aspect is you talked about the number of total approved building in the last 6 years. Can you give us the number of total building approved in Lagos so far? Then the other question, you also talked about...
is this an AK-47 question? So please, just one more, please.
Okay. So you also talked about that, I think it was under right of way, where you talked about 5 buildings being demolished, so you used the term removed. Last year, about 66 million naira was used for demolition of illegal structure. That is what was provided in the 2024 budget performance of Lagos State government. I just want to know, was it that amount was used to demolish just 5 buildings? Then, under LAPSCA, also under LAPSCA. Okay, LAPSCA is not here, okay. Thank you very much.
All right, may we have the last man, please? But we'd like to
I think he has put in, hold on, he has put so many. Let me just, let me respond to that before we go to the last. Now, well, it's on record that it's only Lagos State that is displaying all our finances open to the public. And what my brother just said there, it's okay, it's part of the thing we expect, so that we in here can sit down and know that, yes, we are accountable to the people. Now, if you listen to what I read, if you have certain amounts for demolition, it cannot be, you will not be privy to the number of demolitions carried out. You will not be privy to that. And if you listen to my what I read out today, regarding under technical services department, I said sites that required demolition, 237. Those are smaller one. But if you need details, maybe you approach Ministry of Finance or budget. They will give you the detail of their expenses. Now, the first one was about the Ganifa Emi, building by the Ganifa Emi. Well, also in the report that I read here, I said last year alone, exactly 1 year, 8th of May last year, 7th of May last year to today, we've received, the ministry has received 1,628 petitions. 1,628 petitions, for which we visited 1,556. That's 97%. 97%. As I'm talking to you today here, we have not received petition from that. However, we have had it in press, but there has not been an official petition to us. We have heard about the news, and we have checked. The building beside has an approval. He has an approval. But one thing is the approval, another thing is the compliance. So if the proper process is followed, petition sent in, we'll go there and investigate, and the proper thing will be done. Now, regeneration. The presentation by SA, EGIS, and Urban Development will give you more details in terms of detailed plans for regeneration plan. That's in his purview. Delays in permits, well, this is not also true. Now, you will agree with me that you cannot have a child without name. You cannot have a child without name, because the implication is that he will not be able to go to hospital. The child will not be able to go to school, because the first thing they will ask is that, what is the name? So the same thing in building. You cannot move to site and say you are building when you don't have approval. That's the name. If you buy a SIM card today, maybe you have 1 or 2 days. If it's not registered, you cannot use it. If you buy a car today, maybe you put a dealer's number or whatever for 1 or 2 weeks. After that, you will be arrested if you don't have plate number. So it's the same principle with building. Is that equally important? And the process is very simple. You can put it to try as a journalist. Present a drawing and approach any district office. They will give you an assessment clearly stated of what is to be paid. And the basis for calculation of those assessments are very clear. It's based on the volume of your building, the length, the breadth, and the height. And you have the rate that will be multiplied. It's there, clearly stated. It's a pity that I don't have a sample here. I will have shown you. It's clearly stated. It's not hidden. And even those rates, if you are not comfortable, get any planner. They will confirm it to you. And there is no, you don't need to know anybody. In that assessment, the total amount you have to pay will be there. And the banks and the account number, they are also there. It's for you to approach your bank and make those payments and come back with the receipts and the drawings. You don't need anybody. You don't need to give anybody any money. If any officer is harassing you, come to the head office or you come to the ministry and see the commissioner. You don't need any appointment to see me. You don't. You are not supposed to give money to anybody. Yeah. This is an example of what is calculated. You have the area of the building and the height. So that will be multiplied by the rate, and you get certain amount. Then you also have the fencing, because every development here is assumed will be fenced. So there is a certain amount, which is between 25,000 to maybe 150,000 for fencing. Then you also have the layout that is charged. Then you have the application and registration. The layout fee is between 50,000 to 200,000, depending on the area and the building. The application and registration is between 20,000 to 200,000, depending on the building size. And you now have the LOP, which is 10% of the assessment fee, and you have the SEC. You have the SEC, which is 100% of the assessment fee. So it's so clear. Anything outside this is null and void. They want to cheat you. And it will be stated, you will see the account, processing fee, state certification. We also have what we call infrastructural development charge or betterment charge. They are there. And the account you are going to pay, they are there. Nobody will take cash from you. Because every application has a file that will be open. So as you are coming back with the receipt, it goes inside the file, and auditors at their own time, they come to check. Because we have a central point now, which is called central that is introduced by revenue now. All payment to Lagos State. And everybody has a number. You pay on your number. Central billing system. It goes in there. So from time to time, they come, check that, okay, because the money goes there. So when they come, they check, okay, we have 50,000 on this. They want to check the fact that it's also 50,000. You are not supposed to pay any cash. You are not bringing bank draft. You are not bringing check. You go to the bank yourself and pay and come with the receipt. And the receipt that we even take from you is the photocopy because you own the original. You own the original, but we will cite the original with the photocopy before the original is released back to you. And it goes into your file. You are not supposed to give anybody any money. Now, there are other prerequisite documents, and this is where we have the challenge. This is where we have the challenge. Because in Lagos State now, there is virtually no part in Lagos State now that is not witnessing any form of development. Everywhere there are infrastructural going on in Lagos State. And this costs money. And where will the government get this money? We all must pay our tax. So for you to say you want to develop in Lagos, an underage cannot develop. Can a 16-year-old boy say he wants to build a house? No. You become mature in Nigeria by Nigerian law from age 18. So you are qualified to pay tax. So how can you tell us that you want to build a house of 20 million and you are not paying tax? That's not fair. That's not fair. Because the site that you want to build, that your house, some form of infrastructural facility must have gone to that place. You cannot fly to jump into that place. You will drive to that place. So road has been done. Drainage has been done. Maybe water line. Power line has been drawn. When you finish your house, you just drop a NEPA cable into your house. All those cost money. So you must show evidence that you pay tax. And this is where we have challenge. A lot of people find it difficult. They find it difficult to show evidence of tax. And that's why they have the problem. Because we will not release that drawing approval to you if you don't have evidence of tax. And we now have an arrangement with LIRS. So if you feel you've not been, they've given us a guideline. If you don't have evidence of tax to pay, based on the building, what you are supposed to pay is that it will be given to you. By tax, LIRS, this is what I'm told that you will pay. And you're not paying to me. You're not making that payment to fiscal planning. You are making it to LIRS, to the state. And if you feel aggrieved that the amount they assess you is too much, go right there and challenge it. And another thing I want to say is that if you don't want to avoid any delay, again, it's very important. Listen very well. If you are given an assessment that, okay, you are supposed to pay 2 million as tax before we can commence the process of building permits, if you don't want to witness any delay, you can pay that 2 million. We'll process your approval and you get it. Then you go back to LRS and prove to them that that amount is too much, and they will refund you if you can prove that it's too much. They will give you back the balance on it, so that there's not any, all things being equal, if everything is full. Because before that assessment is given from the district office for you to go and pay, we have screened those drawings. So all things being equal, if you don't have any problem, maybe a root of title or tax issue, 10 days, you should be able to get your planning permit. Yes. Now, they also talked about clearances. We actually acknowledge that, and even from the summit, our governor and former minister did talk about that. And in-house, we have also started, in fact, a couple of weeks back, a summary of the position was passed to the governor and the deputy governor, which they have minuted on that we should go back and do something so that the issue of clearances can be fully resolved. We appreciate that, and very soon we are going to conclude on it. Number of buildings approved in Lagos State, that I will not say now. But from record, we have over 5 million buildings in Lagos, over 5 million structures, properties. And what I can say is that the percentage of those with approval is very, very low. I won't be specific on the figure, but we have it, it's very, very low. And that's why we're making efforts in the ministry to ensure that we change that narrative. And good enough, from the last summit, from the last amnesty that we did, there has been a tremendous increase. Like I said, over 27% increase now, you know, and we hope that it will continue to increase. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have, that's the last question. Please, ma'am, make it brief, cut to the chase, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mr. Dada, and I report for Radio 1, 103.5 FM. Firstly, I would like to commend the state government for giving residents at least permission to petition the state government. In your briefing, you said 95 petitions were received against the state government, out of which 35 received, the judgments were delivered. I just want to know, out of the 35... Petition, that's the appeals committee. Appeal, yes. Out of which 35 were delivered for the states, out of which 35 were delivered. You said 28 are still pending. How soon will those 28 petitions still pending be approved? Then two, you said you will not like a situation where permit is being given to residents to indulge themselves in danger. But I want to know who give permit to people who build petrol stations in residential areas. I know so many areas that have petrol stations, that have gas stations in residential areas. Only one can imagine if there's a fire disaster in such streets. So who give permit to those who site petrol stations in residential areas? And do the ministry have monitoring task force that goes to ensure that such a thing does not happen in residential area? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, you are asking me when the remaining petition will be concluded. When it's a case against me, how can I tell you case against me will be concluded? I don't have control of that. The committee will decide that. Now, regarding fuel station, well, I will not blame you because you are not a planner. I don't know where you live, madam. Ikorodu. If, for example, we say Ikorodu is all residential and we design it like that, and for you to buy petrol, you have to come to Ikeja, how will you feel? How will you feel? That's, okay, madam is living in Ikorodu, so everybody in Ikorodu, you will live here. But if you want to buy petrol, you come to Ikeja, how will you feel? Yeah, I know, I'm marshalling my points. You know, Fuel stations are also like you want to buy bread. They are complementary to the development. Yes, they are complementary. Now, if you check, even in Japan, you even have cases where a train passing through a building and it stops. A building divided into two, the train passing through. The world is moving. Yes, there is a station in Ikeja. It took a lot of time before the approval was granted. You have offices above it and you have fuel station underneath it. Yes, it's been there for how many years? Nothing has happened. It's all about the requirements and the protection and protective devices that are put in place. Now, the ones you've mentioned, there are requirements. You know, I did mention now that there are some specialties that we've just developed within the ministry. If you remember, I said airport, cemetery, freeway, refinery, steel plants, seaports, marine and blue economy, tech hub, stadiums. The same thing was for petrol station long time ago. A detailed study was done that, okay, of necessity, as part of enhancing, complementing the residential blocks, there should be things like fuel station, gas station. So what you need to do is to ensure that the planning requirements, the planning needs are put in place to ensure that lives are not put under any threats. Yes. What you should be asking me is that, okay, do they have approval? Then I know I'm responsible. Because anyone that we approve, we've deemed it fit that is necessary for them to be there. And all necessary preventive measures to be in place to ensure that in case of accident, people are not affected. They are all there. They are all there. You cannot be cooking now and your gas finished and there's need for you to buy gas. You as a madam, you have to enter your car and drive down. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The important thing is that the one nearby, there is enough safety measure in place that in case of accident, it doesn't affect lives and properties.
A round of applause for the Honorable Commissioner. Please, we know we cannot exhaust all the questions, but a round of applause, please. We can keep it coming. We can keep it coming. That was a very energetic and animated response. AK-47 questions, bazooka answers. So, ladies and gentlemen, on this note, if you still have questions, we want to reel out the dedicated social media handles of the ministry so that you can further the engagement and questions.
We have the social media handles of the ministry. Yes, so it's for Twitter, for X, formerly Twitter, at UD_MPP. At UD_MPP. For Instagram is at Lagos Physical Planning_UD. Sir? No, there are no questions. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay, on that note, I would like to invite a permanent secretary par excellence and an administrator with a touch of class. I'm talking about the permanent secretary, physical planning and urban development engineer, Oluwole Shotire, to move the vote of thanks.
The Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Physical Planning and Urban Development, the Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Information and Strategy, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Information and Strategy, General Managers, Directors here, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a very big thank you. First of all, to the Minister of Information and Strategy for this opportunity to let members of the public know our achievements in the last 1 year. I'd like to also thank members of the press for paying attention, for your questions, and I'm trusting you will report us correctly. Once again, I want to say a big thank you, and God bless you.
The PS Trust and our accurate reporter, gentlemen of the press.
And so with that, we've come to an end of the 2025 Ministerial press briefing for physical planning and urban development. But before we go, we'd have to take pictures.
We take the group photographs, the commissioners to the PAMSEC first. After then, the commissioners with the PAMSEC and head of agencies. And after then, we have all the directors from... So, don't waste. Commissioners with PAMSEC first. Okay, commissioners with PAMSEC and heads of agencies. Heads of agencies. Please, directors from MPU, endeavor to be in these pictures, please, before you go. Please, directors, let's join them now. Can we take it in 2 batches? First batch of directors, please. More directors needed, please. Sorry, sir. Is it too wide? Okay. The second batch. Please, some of us can go to the other end.
Lagos Television,
yes.
The voice of Lagos.